to be loved.
He wants to be loved, all right. If anybody knows what those are.
He's a lap.
He didn't learn this in he's eating my cord. He didn't learn this in Schutzen 3, I'm pretty sure. I think we're losing our marbles here. Still recording? All right, Cujo didn't break this.
Cujo, yeah.
And Belle's going bananas. Wow, guys, we've had a full, complete breakdown at the asylum.
It was your fault. Please.
My fault.
Cujo, please.
Do you know I got a compliment on looking very svelte last episode?
It's because you asked them to say that.
I did not.
At the end of the episode, you said maybe someone could comment on how I've lost 15 pounds. It'd be really nice.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was fishing. Cool. Say nice things about me, my hat, and that I lost 20 pounds. Maybe that would be a nice thing. Sorry.
So it doesn't
I thought it was unsolicited. Yeah.
It's like, that's why you're like, people are saying nice stuff about your hair. I'm like, because I'm sitting there going, say nice stuff about my hair.
Anything different about you? You see that? It didn't take much to lead her in. All it took was like, hi, how are you? And then she started playing with her hair.
I'm just saying.
Okay, well, I thought I forgot about that part of the show. I just thought somebody was like, hey, you look great. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Sean, you look amazing. Everyone who sees him in person is like, holy crap.
What you don't realize is this whole thing has been a constructed fishing moment right now, just to
Just
get
right
you to
here.
say that. It's been, I'm a mastermind.
Question number 1. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Aria.
Aria's like,
Joanne says, hello again, Sean and lovely Laura.
hey.
Greetings from the tumbleweeds. You are definitely very, very high on my list of things.
That's her dogs, by the way, in case
her
anybody
dogs,
doesn't know.
Yeah. You're very, very high on my list of things to be thankful for this
So
Thanksgiving.
sweet. That's awesome.
The tumbleweeds and I are wondering what your thoughts are in allowing a dog to gnaw on a nylabone or something else while on place command. Would it be like disciplining a teen by sending them to their room when they have a TV, phone, and internet in there? Does it negate the point of duration work?
Well, duration work isn't supposed to be like solitary confinement and bread and water.
Yeah.
So
it's not a punishment.
No.
So there's no like sending a teen to his room and saying you've been bad. That would be like, okay, you got to unplug the internet, but
yeah.
place command's not that.
Enrique's chuckling from the back. He liked that one, right?
Liked it?
You got a little bit of
No,
support.
he didn't. That was Cujo coughing.
Oh, was it?
Enrique's not listening.
Enrique, sorry, he fell asleep over there. He's like, first question, and he's like, I'm with Aria. Anyways.
He is Aria. That's
right?
his alias
Code name? He's like, yeah, Aria. Did you guys get a guest on the show for add a little spice? Okay. Joanne. So here's the thing. So if you've got like, it's a really great question. We get this question a lot when clients come in. So if you've got a dog, like, or I should say, like, if we've got a dog, or if you've got a dog that you just brought into training and you're trying to teach the dog place, and the dog, like, typically when dogs come in for training and stuff like that, they're out of their tree, they're all wound up, they're anxious, they're stressed, they're, they haven't decompressed yet.
Right.
Dogs like that, they need more just no stimulation, right? Like, go to place, zip it up, be quiet, sit there for 2 hours, take it easy, let the brain decompress, get into a meditative state, and let it all go.
Yep.
So for those dogs, I'd say no. Now, for a solid dog, if you've got one of your tumbleweeds or a dog that you've brought in as like a rescue dog or something like that, once you get them to a really solid state, they're really balanced, they're really cool, and they can be in place and be very comfortable. I've got no problems with a chew bone or whatever that your dog fancies. That said, as long as your dog doesn't get worked up and like all like crazy and like start rolling around on place and ends up rolling out the front door or something with its chew bone. If the chew bone makes a dog like bananas, then no. But if your dog can hang in place and pacify itself and you've already got the dog into a good spot where the mind is really balanced out, I think it's perfectly great.
I put Herc and Cujo on place all the time for a bone or a treat. all the time because I
Yeah.
want them separated anyway.
Right.
If they have a bone,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in place just hanging out for an hour or so while I do work, and they're chewing on their bones all as well. But that's we're pretty far down the line, but so are you. So
Yeah, but it just goes to show, like, there's nothing wrong with it, and I
Yeah.
think, like, to get back to what you said at the very top of Joanne's question, is that it's not a punishment.
Yeah.
It's a training behavior that helps dogs calm down, relax, chill out, get into a meditative state, all that stuff. So think about it more like that as an airplane lands on our house. Think about it more like that than it is like kind of a punitive thing. And I think you'll be fine. So chew bones are cool. Stay away from the rawhide. Rawhide's dangerous.
yeah, Nylobone's great. Cool.
That's it.
Thanks.
All right. You
All
ready
right.
for question number 2?
Question number 2 comes from Stacy Thompson Moran.
Hi, Stacy Thompson.
Stacy says, I have a mini dachshund that has resource guarding toys and bones. It's resource guarding toys and bones.
Uh-huh.
You've given me tips on how to work with the Ecollar. I've worked with toys and he's responding and giving up the toy with an out without much trouble.
Yep.
My question is, bones are another story. When giving him a bone to chew on, he will not relax and chew. He has to hide it. He will react to us and chase and growl at the cat when he has it. So how do I work on him giving it up? And if he doesn't even try to chew it, just bury it and guard it. Do I even have to give him bones? He does not even have to chew on it. Short answer.
I'm tempted to just let Laura jump on this one.
I'm just saying.
I can tell this got your ire up.
I just think it's funny. The reason why I'm so kind of passionate about this one is because I've told you guys before, when Polar Bear was like, Polar Bear, the first dog I had that got me to meet Sean walked through my door and helped me out with Poe, when he was like guarding, everything, right? We're talking water, his food. He's such a little brat. He's 6 months old and he was guarding water, his food, bones, toys, the bed. Okay, but you ask, why would such a little brat get bones and toys? Exactly. That is my point. So
It's a good question.
Seriously,
Yeah.
Okay. Stacy, we're going to give you protocols on how to do this now, but the end of your question is so perfect. It's like, why? It's like, should I even give him that stuff? No. If dogs don't just get bones because that's in the cartoons, like dogs chew on bones. Dogs get bones because they earn them.
Yeah.
So he's been like a brat, burying it and guarding it and growling. It's like, are you kidding me? You're going to get rewarded by even getting anything after that? No. So to me, an out command with the e-collar, which, we're going to do a video on that, I guess.
Yeah, I think she's already started working on that with toy stuff, but she's finding more resistance with the bone.
Sure. So you raise the level with the bone if you want to work on it, or you take away the bone, you don't give bones, and you work on the toy stuff. But even more than that, you need to work on the whole foundation of the dog. Because if you're not working, what someone's called it now, Laura's lockdown, which I really like.
Yeah.
Even though it came from EU. But I'll take it. Laura's lockdown has a nice ring to it. Tara Isaacson talked about that. But yeah, I think like any dog that's feeling empowered enough to guard and growl and do all that stuff, that is not a dog that deserves toys or bones.
Hasn't earned them.
And also does not deserve freedom in the house. And I know that sounds really harsh to people that are just tuning in, but that's how we roll. If you can picture it, right? So, hey, I have the run of the house. I get toys. I'm not growling over those. I have the run of the house. I can be on couches. I can be on beds.
I was growling at those, but Mom went and kicked my butt and said no.
She kicked my butt. They don't really matter much to me. But I can be on a couch. I can be here. I can be there. And then, I get this juicy bone. Mom walks by, growl. It's like, I'm the prince. So what we do is we want to remove that prince stuff so that you get a little bit more of like a humbled dog and a dog that's listening and more relaxed because they are humbled.
And safe. And
not going to be tossed out of your house and added to the shelter. So you've got, then you've got a dog that's not going to growl at you over bones if he ever does earn them, which he could.
All of my notes are pretty much right in line with Laura Morgan.
So funny because I learned everything I say from you.
So let me just run down this list. I wouldn't be rewarding a resource guarder with bones or toys. Hey, look at that. 1 point for Laura. Like she said, dogs that are in that space, They don't deserve it. It's not good for them, and it creates a negative, stressed out state of mind. So rather than seeing it like, oh wow, he doesn't get a bone to chew on, so he's sad, think about that giving him that item creates tension, stress, and anxiety that makes him more uncomfortable. So you kind of need to flip that script a little bit. Also, and then, I just basically said, yeah, it's putting him in a negative pressure state, which I just covered a second ago. Yeah. But here's like the final answer. No. No, 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 no. You don't have to give him a bone. You don't have to give him any bones. There's no like legislature written that dogs need to have bones, especially dogs that are doing naughty things with bones. Like, he's taking it. Why do you think he's taking it and burying it? It's all possessive stuff. Yeah. It's all like, and I know people are like, well, dogs bury bones. Like, my dogs don't. They sit out here with antlers and they chew on them. And one of them drops it and the other one's like, cool, I can go in and grab that. But there's no fights, there's no scuffles, there's no battles. And so they get that privilege. Any one of my dogs would be going after another one of my dogs over an item like that, or a human. They would rue the day, right? Gosh, yeah. So that's not about being a hard ass, except maybe a little bit. And the reality is that I run my house by a certain set of rules, which allows me a lot of latitude, right? And it goes back to our same old saw, which is like, if you can be as believable in your discipline as you can be in your affection, you get a hell of a lot more latitude with your dog. If you're going to be more lenient with your affection, you're going to find that your dog's going to push, and you can have a lot more problems. So let's get rid of this necessity, or this, how do I put it, this, not responsibility, but compulsion, obligation to give these dogs this stuff, and that's what'll make them happy. Oh, no. No. Give them structure, give them rules, give them consequences for silly behavior.
Keep them in your house.
That's how you'll keep them good. He shouldn't be having any of those privileges, whether it's a dog or a human. If you're engaging in negative, bad behaviors, your job as owner and as parent is to set consequences that are significant enough for behaviors in the future to be better. And don't set them up to fail. Just take the heat off yourself, have some fun, get rid of the bones, and like, your dog's already like a stress case with that stuff. So let's just get rid of it and make your life simple.
Cool.
Sound good? Boy, did we get long in the tooth, even though I know that's not the right saying.
Thank you.
LaDawn's gonna get on me for saying that again.
Question number 3, this comes from Laura. Laura says, Sean, thanks for answering my question 2 weeks ago about my dog's recall and not responding with the Ecollar.
Yeah.
You were right on with what was going on and how to fix it, and he's no longer freezing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
Look at me.
Look at you.
I know what I'm doing.
My 1-year-old mini schnauzer is a bit fearful. He's done all the foundation work and the Ecollar has been layered over the commands. Lately, when we enter the training club and there's different dogs and people there, he doesn't want to go into the building. And when I get him in there, he tries to hide under chairs, behind garbage cans, and sometimes growls at people. Dog clubs in this area do not allow e-collars, but I can use the prong. I try to get him to place her down with a prong, but as soon as I release the pressure, he's up, off place, or the down. When this ugliness is over, I put him in the crate. Should I stop him from hiding? Any suggestions on how to better handle this situation? Thanks, you guys are the best.
So super happy that those recall suggestions helped.
Yeah,
always challenging to give like remote advice,
yeah.
and makes me really happy that worked out for you. So first of all, so you got a year-old Schnauzer. Schnauzers are really notorious for being like high-strung, super anxious, and oftentimes they can be a bit of a wreck. And I don't mean your dog's a wreck, but we see a lot of them here that are a wreck, where they just shake and can barely manage themselves. Just so you may have a dog that's not, at least at this point in his life, cut out for that kind of like high stimulation, high challenge environment, and able to be successful in it. He may not be genetically predisposed to be able to handle that right now. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make huge improvements and stuff down the line, but if that's what's going on right now, you're not allowed to use e-collar, so you got limits on your tools. He's super uncomfortable. All he's trying to do is flee, and it's supposed to be like a positive experience of like training and stuff like that. It doesn't sound like much positive stuff is going on. That's no diss on you. It's just that where he's at and the tools you're allowed to use, I just don't think it's going to be very beneficial for you. So first, he may not be genetically predisposed to being ready to handle this stuff right now. Personally, I would proof him in environments like I would kind of like, if it was me, I would forego the training club, and I would proof him like a mother on e-collar stuff, on all of his commands somewhere else. I'd get him so rock solid on all of those commands in challenging situations, but just not something that blows his mind that he can't be successful at, and then slowly, incrementally build it up, build it up, build it up, and see what you can get out of him. You may be able to get him in 6 months to a place where he's such a freaking rock star that he can handle that stuff, that he can go there even without an e-collar and be awesome. But like, don't let the limitations of that club cause you and your dog to have limitations that you could,
cause you guys to backslide,
that you can get over, right? So like, if he was my dog and I was really determined to get him as best as he could, I would be proofing him and busting his butt on the e-collar in all sorts of situations and contexts in order to get him to be the best he can possibly be. And then I'd gauge like, cool, he's pretty damn solid. He's a million miles from where he was when we were at the club, and then decide if you want to go back in and start working on that stuff. But to be honest, like, I have a real kind of like sticking point for like not being able to use the tool that works best for my dog. You know what I mean? Like, so like having to go to a place and I get the social hang and I get the training vibe and all that, but it's like my dog needs an e-collar to do his best and I can't use it. So
but he may be like, oh, sorry, I feel like I keep cutting you off today. Go ahead.
You are, and it's quite painful. I don't know what I was going to say.
You're just saying like the e-collar, like having them tell you that you can't use the best tool for your dog, it just feels like not.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like the most productive way to go about getting your dog into a better space. You're having to acquiesce to like somebody else's, rules. But what if your dog like needs this? So that's where I would go with it. And let me just finish out my notes before I let you jump in here. As for the leash and prong stuff, like, the reality is you're going to be super limited, right? So there's only so much you can do, and you already said like you put him in place, and as soon as he like feels the pressure of the leash go away, he's gone, right? It's a losing battle. I think you're going to actually like, if you continue to do this, you're most likely going to cause more harm than good, because I think your dog's just getting patterned to be like freaked out in this situation, and as soon as you're don't have pressure on the leash or you're far enough away from your dog, if he's that scared, the fear is just going to override and he's just going to be gone. So that would be the magic of the e-collar and doing that work elsewhere, is that you could supersede or override that anxiety and eventually condition him to listen to you rather than listen to his fear. But that's something that you're not able to do in his most challenging situations. That's a hard one. What were you going to say? Jump in.
No, just, I feel like, does he really enjoy the dog club? It doesn't sound like it. I think the dog club, is sounds like a cool idea if you got the right dog. But if it's more for you than it is for him, I just feel like maybe take a good look at that, because there's ways for him to socialize and there's ways for him to bond with people or bond with you that are maybe something that he's more comfortable with. I'm just wondering if you want to just look at like what's the reasons for the dog club. And if it is more selfish, which I think, I'm not saying that you're selfish, but like going to a dog park can be more about like the social hang or seeing the dogs play or something. Just really check in, like, okay, is that worth it for my dog to have this like traumatic experience where he's not allowed to be regulated by me on an e-collar? He's feeling like he wants to hide. He can't even hold position.
He can't be successful.
Yeah, he can't be successful, but he's also like, he knows place and he knows down, but he can't even do it because his brain is so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like if I couldn't do something that I know at a place, I know it's because I'm pretty freaked out. So just check in with that, you know? And if it is like, oh, but once he gets past this, then he's fine and loves it, then we need to just find a way to like get through those moments. But maybe just look at the whole big picture and see what you want to do
I
with
agree
that.
1,000% with what you said. I think it's a no-win situation for you and your dog right now, and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So,
especially those schnauzers, just you can have so much more fun with them, just like training them yourself, or having like one friend that they're into or whatever. But
just so many of them are so high strung that I picture some of the ones we've worked with trying to be in like that kind of situation,
club,
and I'm like,
they'd just be uncomfortable.
Yeah. And that, I think what Laura said is so important to think about. You know, it's like we have these intentions or these goals, like let's do the dog club, it'll be fun, it'll be a way to connect, train my dog social hang, all this stuff. The reality is a lot of dogs don't dig it. And so basically your dog is having to like be subjected to like, I'm really uncomfortable. Now, if you want to improve him, but improve him in a situation where you use the right tools and you can incrementally build him up into a place of confidence. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, so question number 4. This comes from Miss Patricia. Patricia says,
a lot.
Patricia Lynn Dunlap Poe says, I have a male dog that loves to sleep behind my back at night.
Yeah.
He's always trying to chew on my hands or feet. He's chewed up a really big windowsill and ripped the carpet in the living room. He did this only times I left to go somewhere. I did get a kennel for him, and when I leave the house, he loves getting in it when I leave.
Good.
He thinks the backyard is his. When I let him go out and I go to follow him, he barks at me and chomps his teeth and then runs and jumps up on me, almost knocking me down.
Lovely.
He has ripped up the in-ground pool cover to pieces and all the flower pots and anything sitting around them. He's also dug holes in the yard and once under the fence ended up in a next-door neighbor's yard. He will not let me pet him or get near him in the backyard, but will in the house. I do have a shock collar, but I'm afraid to use it. Please give me some advice. Thanks. Is there a charge for your advice?
There is not a charge for our advice. Okay, so Patricia, real quick, let me see if I can run this down because you've got a lot of stuff going on. So you can schedule a phone consult with us if you like. thegooddog.la@gmail.com, and we do phone consults if you want more explicit information for you and your situation. We're happy to do that, so you can email us and set that up if you need it. Otherwise, I'm going to run through some information real quick for you to keep this like brief and not let your mind explode. So your dog's being a total jackass, right? And obviously your guys' relationship is out of balance. Your dog knows it, and he's taking advantage of it. So that dog should not be in your bed. That dog should not be allowed on any furniture. That dog has not earned privileges to do any of that stuff. Only good, polite, well-behaved dogs deserve to be anywhere near your furniture or even proximity-wise close to you. They haven't earned that stuff. So furniture stuff, done. Get rid of it. I'd be really super cautious about affection stuff. It's the easiest way for you to send a mixed message to your dog who's already feeling entitled and empowered about who you are in his life and what role you want to play, and that you are a softer presence and he's going to just take advantage of it, right? Every time he's being a jackass, even if he's not like, even if he's not like doing something horrible, even if he's just hanging out and you're like giving him the prince treatment, such a good boy, because now I can pet him when he's not biting me. All you're doing is reinforcing your soft space and his elevated space, right? So, and I'm not talking about like dogs being dominant and trying to take over the house and all that stuff. I'm talking about the simple I'm talking about the simple dynamic. Sorry, we got loud drinking stuff. The simple dynamic of expressions and conversations that we have physically and emotionally with our dogs that cause fallout and bad behavior, right? So affection stuff, get rid of it, be a Scrooge. You should only give him like a good, right? Touch him on the shoulder or whatever on the head, good, when he does something immaculate. Make him earn and be desperate for that affection rather than you just doling it out, because that is going to ruin your guys' situation even more. You've got a shock collar, Ecollar we like to call it. I would go through our free videos at www.thegooddog.net. Go to our do-it-yourself videos. Check out our prong collar stuff. Go through that first. Get him trained on the prong collar for sit, down, place. Sorry, a lot of action in here. Sit, down, place, thresholds, heel. Go through the whole rigmarole of what we've got. Then overlay the e-collar stuff on that and watch those e-collar videos very carefully. Our new e-collar video comes out probably next month. So if you want to wait on the e-collar and just do prong stuff now, you can really get that situated, and then you can get into e-collar down the line when we have the video that you can go step by step with. Problem with the prong collar, it works really well, but your dog knows when the leash and prong is on him and when you can actually correct him and affect change and when you can't. So e-collar is very different. Dog always knows that you can affect change. You can always influence him. Big difference in those tools. Now, once you've conditioned him to that stuff with the e-collar, you're able to correct all of the monkey business you're struggling with the mouthing, the barking, the being a jackass in the backyard, destruction. Once he's conditioned, he starts digging holes, eating the planter, eating the pool cover, whatever the heck it is. You roll up high, watching through the window. That's my window. You roll up high, pop, and your dog goes, wow. Planter, pool, holes, none of it's fun. It's all hot. I don't dig it. I don't want it. I mean, literally don't dig it, and I don't want it anymore. That's how you work them through that stuff. But it's not going to happen unless you really, really, really want it, right? So just like I said earlier in the show, it's all predicated on you wanting this. If it's just a pain in the rear and all this training sounds like too much work, then you're probably not going to get very far or anywhere, and your dog's only going to get worse. If you need help, hire a pro. They can come in and help coach you, and don't hire a treat trainer. Hire a balance trainer who uses these tools, prong and e-collar, and help them if you need the coaching, if you need the push, if you need the extra motivation, right? So I think that's it. I think I'm gonna, and then he should be crated anytime that he's not supervised. He should not be in that backyard when you're not around to be able to do destructive things. I don't want him practicing any destructive behaviors in your absence. So lock him down, treat him like a dog that's being a bad dog, train him up, be firm with him emotionally, lead the crap out of him, structure his world, tell him how it's gonna go down, and you can actually turn this dog all around and then have a guy that you actually enjoy living with rather than a guy who's like terrorizing you. So that is my answer.
Okay, question number 5. This is from Natasha Radovsky. Natasha says, "Hi, Sean and Laura. You're simply the best, and I'm learning so much from your Q&A Saturdays." Oh,
thank you.
My question, what is the proper way for a dog to greet the owner when he comes home? When I come home, my 2-year-old lab runs to me excitedly and wiggles his tail. I was recently told that the dog should greet the owner calmly and submissively instead of running towards in an excited manner. Is that right? If so, how do I teach that? My dog is e-collar trained. Thank you.
Natasha, okay, so there's a couple things. One thing you're saying, what's the right way? And I don't know if there is a right way. I think there's a lot of different ways for this to go down, and I think a lot of it depends on you and your dog's relationship. So from what you say in your question, you've got this 2-year-old lab, and he comes up and he greets you happily, but he's not jumping, he's not barking,
just wiggling his
tail. I mean, that sounds pretty benign to me. So if you have no issues with your dog, he's respectful, he listens to you, he doesn't have separation anxiety, he's not explosive at the door with other people, he's good in all other contexts, then personally, I don't have a problem with that. Now, if you do have issues with any of those things that I just stated, then it's probably best that you ignore him and don't engage in any kind of when he's a little bit more elevated, don't engage in anything kind of more excited with him, to make sure that there's a proper leadership conversation going on like that, and that you're not just palling around with your dog. But I'm sure Laura Morgan would mention to crate the dog.
Yes. I was going to say that, if your dog has any issues, best to crate him. But if he's just a perfect dog and is going up to you and wiggling his tail when
a very normal dog.
Yeah, normal dog stuff, you're fine. You're nitpicking. But if you've got any other issues going on, I don't mean that you're nitpicking in a rude way. Just
yes, you do.
No,
she's terrible. Obnoxious.
I'm just saying. You don't worry about it if it's normal stuff. But if it is a dog that has any other stuff going on, it should be crated. It's not about destruction when the dog's home. That's not why we crate. It's for structure when you're not there, so the dog's not practicing bad habits or being untethered and kind of freewheeling if they have any bratty stuff,
Or we always talk about stress loading.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of dogs, if they do have issues and they're not in the crate, you're gone, you're at work, The dog's not destroying the couch or anything, but meanwhile, he's barking at everything that goes by the window, or he's stressed out and growling at the door when somebody walks by. So I'm not saying that's your dog, but a lot of dogs stress load during the course of the day, and then you come home, you're trying to do training, and you're trying to really undo all that stuff that's been transpiring for 7, 8, 9 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'd say that there is no right answer. My guys are not crated, and they come up to me and they're happy to see me, and I give them little pats on the head, and they're cool. We don't have any issues. So if you got issues, you need to tweak things and probably crate your dog.
Yeah.
If you don't have issues, like Laura said, you got the perfect dog, you're one of those lucky owners, then you can probably
After all the work you've done, by the way. We know you've done a ton of work.
Yeah, because she's been on Q&A for a long time.
Yeah, yep.
So make sure that you don't get caught up in like this right answer and use some language like calm submissive, which is Caesar language, and nothing wrong with that. But Caesar's way of addressing and interacting with his dogs is typically very different than most owners will interact with their dogs. And if you watch his show, he does not interact with the dogs when he walks in. He completely ignores them. And when he walks out, he doesn't say, "Hey, Big C will be back soon." He just walks out and he's gone. So he's got a very different way of interacting with dogs, and it's a pretty tough one for most people to interact at that high level of like, not ignoring, but like really not engaging.
Yeah.
And so I'd say find your sweet spot with that stuff, and then once again, that sweet spot is dependent upon your dog. And if you've got issues, like any dog that goes home from board and train here, absolutely every one of them's in a crate. Absolutely, there's zero exceptions with that.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of getting the dog's mind right is the crate stuff. So if you are having problems and you're not using the crate, it's a great opportunity to shore up some of that stuff, and then you don't even have to worry about like the excited stuff when you walk in, because you already solved that problem.
Got rid of it. Yeah.
Right? Look at that workaround.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay, question number, let's see. I'm all mixed up. We're on question number 6.
Yeah.
This is from Oleg. All right, not sure if I'm too late, but I'll give it a shot.
Never too late, Oleg.
Never too
Always
late for
save
Oleg.
time for you, buddy.
What is the right thing to do if your dog blows you off when you recall her using the e-collar? My dog is fully off-leash trained, thanks to you and Laura. Yay!
Wow, how cool.
But every once in a while, if I recall her, she'll turn around to face me, but then go and do her own thing. Does that call for a no and a higher correction? She absolutely knows the command. We've been working recall for 6 months. Thanks.
Uh-oh.
Give me this question. Come on. Give it.
You want to take it? Take it. Go run with that.
No.
Go run with it.
No. Oleg's asking
You want? We can piggyback.
We always do.
Well, I mean, we can like really piggyback
Yeah.
if you want. Okay.
Hit it.
So, Oleg, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put a 50-foot long line on this dog, right? So that way your dog can forge out, do its thing. 2 reasons. 1, safety, because we're having some blowing off the command. And 2, so you always win. So doggy doesn't get to blow through e-collar stem. So if your dog does try and blow you off and blow through e-collar stem, we're going to teach you how to make sure, 1, the dog doesn't get away, and 2, it becomes very uncomfortable to blow that off,
Yeah.
right? So I would let the dog forge out. And honestly, I'd start I don't know what your dog's like, so we're always kind of like making guesstimates on this, but I let your dog get out like 15, 20 feet. Don't go 50 feet straight away. 15, 20 feet, let him get a little distracted, recall him back, right? If that's a piece of cake, awesome. If that's not a piece of cake, if it already starts right there that he's giving you a hard time, that you call him and like, what's a good Russian name for a dog?
Risky.
Laika.
Laika. Oh, that's cool.
Laika, Hirsky.
Hirsky.
Well,
I just add ski to everything. Is that just wrong?
I think that's Polish.
That's a hatski.
I think that's Polish. Anyways, sorry, Oleg, you got to bear with us. We give good information, but it's a pain in the ass to get to,
I'm
isn't
sure
it?
he's
Right?
like, I know. Yeah.
He's like, oh, here
Oh,
we go.
like,
Here we go again.
The quick answer, though.
The piggyback is looking
I'm
more like
sorry,
a taking over
'cause
back.
I'm like, of course, put the long line on the dog just in case something happens where the dog runs away or something. All that good, nice, safe stuff.
Well, I mean,
But
I also don't want the dog getting away.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you definitely put that long line on with a carabiner on the end. Make sure it's on there just because you guys are having to like really kind of proof this relationship. But the reality is, you answered your own question. You said,
Yep.
does this call for a no and a higher correction? I mean, that's not even a no for me. That's a higher correction. That's a double from where you are. If you call your dog, that could be the difference between life and death, you know? So if you call your dog and your dog doesn't come, and you've been practicing for 6 months and you're sure that she knows, that's like a...
Those are decisions.
Right. And she's gotten away with it enough where she's like, I'm good, right? I'm okay.
Especially if the consequence is only like,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So you've got competing interests, right? Your dog's out smelling around and being a dog, doing its thing. You say, I need you back here. Your dog's saying, that's great, but man, I got all this great stuff going on. And you then say, well, here's a consequence for that, but your consequence is down here and your dog's fascination level's up here, and that's where you're getting in trouble. Laura's saying that your dog's here, your correction's here, and get your dog's attention, have your dog come back.
Yeah.
So even though she would just say, like, let your dog run out to 50 foot and then turn it all the way up and then, like, goose him.
I would never say that.
I know she wouldn't. But what I would say is, like, start short and see what you get.
Yeah.
And then if you call your dog, so for us, you can say no if you want, but for us, what we do is we just repeat the command with a higher level stem. So say I'm on a dog tra, say I correct, say 40 is our correction level out in like the kind of wild, exciting, you know, world, right? Mm-hmm. And I say, Leica, here ski. And Leica's like, looks at me and keeps moving. Then it's here, and now I'm from 40, did I say 40?
Yeah.
Yeah. From 40, I'm probably at 50 or 60 right now. Mm-hmm. And I repeat the command with a tap. I'm not pressing and holding, so that could be something also that maybe you're doing is like pressing and holding and dialing up, which is pressure like this that slowly increases, can be easy for dogs to blow off. So you really want this to be a startling, quick impact correction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So dog gets out, give the command, dog blows off the command, repeat the command with a higher level pop, and don't dilly-dally. Don't like 40, okay, let's go to 45. I don't want to hurt Leica's feelings. Mm-hmm. This is serious stuff, like Laura said. You do a few corrections at high enough levels that matter and have some real value for the dog, and what you'll find is that dog will turn every time you call them on a dime. So your job isn't to like, how soft can I be with Leica? Yeah. How easy can I be? How comfortable can I keep her? What your goal is to get that dog to turn when you call her every single time, no matter what's in front of her. And your real job is to find the level on that e-collar once you've fairly trained that dog that makes that dog turn its butt around and get right back to you. So don't look at the numbers, just look at your dog, right? And within reason, right? You don't go from 40 to 100. But what I don't like is when people are like, they're 40, 42, 43, your dog's already getting amped up and farther away from you, you're toast, right? So get to the number quickly and get there high and get there quick when you're dealing with this recall stuff. Start short distances, get it back, then get her out farther and make sure she's coming every time, and use a high enough level that your dog cares and not is inspired by it, but prioritizes it. Yeah, this is an easy fix.
Yeah,
easy fix.
Let us know.
Nice work.
Thanks.
But that's why I did 9 shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shots.
I want to take shots at somebody.
9.
Is shots a command? Hi.
Shots in.
Hi. It'd be great if you would just go lay down. Plots.
Okay. Question number 7 comes from Miss Kayla.
Kayla or Kyla?
It's Kayla.
Yeah, well.
Kayla says, "Hi, Sean. I have a 3-year-old Kanye Corso, and she is such a great dog. I put in a lot of hard work training her, but there's one thing I can't seem to accomplish.
Yeah.
I'd gotten in a minor car accident with her in the car 9 months ago, and ever since then she's had bad car anxiety.
Yeah.
She shakes and pants and drools. She'll lay down if I hit the smallest bump. She gets up panting and shaking.
Yeah, it's a
Tried
bummer.
so much to try to fix this problem. I tried aimlessly for hours trying to wait her out. I've tried food, and she's usually food driven. I've tried getting her excited to go places she's normally excited to.
Yeah,
Oh man,
it's a bummer, huh?
Tried to Ecollar to nip the panting in the bud right as she starts, and she's slightly better, but she still continues. I bring her to work all day with me, and she's in doggy daycare for 8 hours and still has the same anxiety driving home. You think she'd be tired. I'm at a loss. She used to love the car, and it makes me sad. She's so stressed out.
It makes us sad.
It's such a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Kayla.
Yeah, that is a bummer. So Kayla, it's just a bummer because your dog's traumatized, and
Yeah.
there's no way to just remove that right
Yeah.
now.
Anyone that says that dogs don't remember things.
Yeah, they live in the moment.
3 seconds.
Then
Yeah.
how come they're so stressed out? It's just a tough one, right? So, and you've done a lot of really awesome work and really tried to find some answers. So that's fantastic, and I applaud that. So you just have a super bad association going on. Your dog's just worried another big traumatic thing's going to happen. And so what I would suggest, and I know you've tried to feed her in the car before, but here's what I'd suggest, and it's a slight tweak on that, and that's she only gets fed in the car. And it's going to be hard. And it takes a bit of gumption on your part to not feel bad, not feel guilty, to say like, wow, she hasn't eaten in 2 days. You offer her food every time in the car, right? Now, the logistics, and maybe you can help with this, the logistics, obviously you can't do it like while you're driving and like hand her the food bowl,
Exactly.
at least I don't think.
Yeah.
You could do it at a stoplight, I guess. But what I want, and I want you to get this concept, is that at some point, food becomes the most important motivator that there is, but it has to. You have to generate enough hunger for that to supersede the emotional. Can you knock out Snowy Manny? To supersede the trauma association and all those memories and negative stuff that's going on, right? So the trick is the dog only eats in the car. I'd love for you to figure out a way like the dog only eats in the car. Like, I mean, I guess what you could do is you could drive and then you could pull over and then, keep the engine running and find a safe spot and offer the dog an opportunity to eat. And I can guarantee you multiple times the dog's not going to eat. But at some point, the dog's going to get so hungry that the dog's going to go, I need to eat, right? And it could take several days, right? When we're dealing with aggression cases, we offer them food from our hands, but most of the time they won't take it. And so it's not like we're withholding, we're offering it, but the dog's like, no, for whatever reason, I'm too anxious, I'm too stressed, I'm too pissed off, I'm too aggressive, whatever. But you always offer it. And then there comes a point where the dog goes, yeah, okay, and then they make that move, and then you really kind of have that breakthrough, and it takes like I said, it takes some gumption and some tenacity to hold on to it and not feel guilty.
Yeah.
No dog's going to starve itself.
Yeah.
That would be my plan if I'm like, I really need to get my dog back to square one with being in the car and enjoying it, because what will happen is eventually the association, like we pull out a dog leash, we pull out the dog food, and the dog goes, it's the same thing, except it's going to happen in the car, and the car is going to slowly start to represent that. It's tough work, but that's really the only suggestion I have for you that I know will start to turn that around for you guys.
It's going to be a process. Just think of it as a process.
Yeah.
It's that little. It's just like anything where there's trauma, whether it's with us or any other dog or dogs or anything. It's just going to take time. So I know it sucks to think about like, she's stressed out. Why do I have to and now I'm causing more stress because she's not going to eat and that sort of thing. But the thing is, you're going to offer the food, so the food's always there. But how cool will it be if you can just picture the moment where you grab your keys to get in the car and you guys are long past the feeding thing in the car, but you grab your keys and she gets excited again.
She's like, oh, dinner time.
Yeah, and the dinner time will eventually fade. You don't have to feed her in your car for life, but you can eventually fade that out after a while. The car becomes more comfortable and becomes more safe and all this stuff. I was also thinking, like, I wonder if there's a way to change it up a little bit. Like, what if you, I don't know what kind of car you have, but what if you, had a crate for her in there or something, or like had put a seat cover that's like, that hammock type thing, like just something that like changes the environment a little bit. And you do this. I don't know why. I was just thinking like
just
something.
Switch it up a bit.
Yeah, something that's just a little different. Like, okay, this is where we start anew. You actually get a big cushion in the back, and that's where you know what I mean? Or this is like, whatever. Just some sort of change.
Hard to say. It's worth a shot because it's a real easy,
I mean, doing the other
in conjunction.
Stuff too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot because it's fairly cheap to do, to get one of those car covers or do a crate thing. You'll have to judge and see whether the dog's more nervous being in that stuff. But I'm telling you, I learned this, really clearly from a good friend, trainer, Ted Epithemiitis, that really, like, when dogs are in stressful situations, if you'll only feed them in those stressful situations and you can hold out and you can really be strong with it, you can really turn that stuff around. And I know that that's a challenging one, but it's a powerful leverage to change state of mind stuff. So shout out to Ted, and that's the way I'd go about it.
Cool.
So let us know how it works. Let us know if you make some progress, and even if what we suggest doesn't work, I think it will. But even if it doesn't, let us know what you find out or where you end up. We always like to hear back from you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks
Kayla. Okay, guys, we've got question number 8. This is from Ashley Smith. She says, "Hi again, Sean and Laura. My update was perhaps premature. Hank, the coonhound, does better in his crate, but when routines change, like when I was homesick for the
Hank, it's a perfect name for a coonhound, by the way.
When I was homesick for 2 days this week and then went back to work, he's now barking in the crate. My neighbor informed me he barked from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. almost nonstop last week. He seems to be collar-wise because I can't use the e-collar while I'm at work, too far away, and I don't like leaving collars on in his wire crate." She knew of someone who got...
read that part because it's important to my answer.
"I know personally of one owner that had their dog strangle and die with a collar on trying to jump a baby gate, so I'm really hesitant to leave something like a bark collar on if he gets excited and they get stuck in the crate wires while I'm at work. Any advice?"
Okay, cool. So, Ashley Smith, I would absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt, with no reservations, use a bark collar. There's no way you're going to be able to curb this behavior. You're going to end up being the enemy of your neighborhood, or your neighbors are all going to hate you. And your coonhound is also going to be a stressed out wreck and a mess. So I would absolutely get a bark collar. I would say go with either the Sport Dog right now or the Dogtra, and you can order, I think, either of those off of Amazon.
Yeah.
We're using the Sport Dog more than anything right now, and it seems to be pretty simple. Don't use the Sport Dog on the auto escalation setting. Use it on just the setting where you start at like 1, and then the next day start at 2, and move from there nice and slow. Here's the thing. We leave bark collars and e-collars and regular collars on dogs all the time. We've never had an incident of a dog getting caught, strangled, something like that. And the reason being is the story, although a very sad story from the friend that you knew, chances are that was some kind of a looser collar, because a bark collars fit very snug, and there's no chance, jumping a gate or a fence or something else, that's a very different story, right? Yep. There's more possibilities for a problem. In a crate, there's nothing really to get hooked onto, and a bark collar that's fit snug, there's no way to get anything under there. I've never seen it. I'm not saying it's never happened in the world of dog owning, but boy, I know a lot of dog trainers, and I know I'm on a lot of training forums, and I've never heard a bark collar getting stuck. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like, yeah, I've seen it, but boy, those chances are super duper remote. Hey, let there be light. And getting dark in here.
Keep going.
So anyways, let's go.
That looks better.
You're getting a multitude of lighting looks. So I would heartily suggest that you let go of that fear of the strangulation. We have bark collars on all the dogs that are in here that need them, or e-collars. Never had a problem. Not going to get caught in the crate, and it's going to be snug, and you're going to be fine, and your dog will actually stop barking and will be a more comfortable dog. That's my answer to that. Hopefully that helps. I got to go put this guy back.
Oh yeah, thanks. Okay.
Yep.
Question number 9 comes from Casey Neckley.
Casey's back in town.
Casey's back. Casey says, "Hi, Sean and Laura. I have more of a theoretical question than something I'm personally struggling with.
Oh.
At what point is a dog e-collar savvy enough to be corrected with it for barking? I know it's going to vary from dog to dog, but do you need to have worked on a certain number of exercises or a certain amount of time before correcting for bad behaviors like barking? You obviously don't want to throw the collar on the dog on day 1 and give a high-level correction when he barks. I'd love some insight."
Casey Naklik. So she's, what did she call this? This was a...
just more of a theoretical.
Theoretical, yes. So I'm going to have to dive deep into my academic
Theory.
studies, right?
Yes.
So simple stuff. This is actually, it's a great question, and it's really simple stuff. And what I would do is, like you've probably heard me if you've listened to the rest of Q&A, is that for e-collar stuff, the best thing you can do, if you just hold on to this in your head, the best thing you can do is spend a few days conditioning your dog to what the collar means, right? It's just, there's no getting around that. So whether it's heel, whether it's place, whether it's recall, get your dog used to the sensation of this collar and that he turns the collar off by making good choices. Do that over and over and over again, right? Now, you spend 3, 4, 5 days teaching your dog recall or e-collar heel, your dog's going to be like, man, slap the collar on. I know exactly what this means. I'm aces with this. This is great. Now your dog starts barking, whether it's in the crate, whether it's on the walk, regardless of whether. Did she say where it's at?
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say something. You were just yawning.
Just yawning.
So regardless of what context or where you have the problem at, whether it's, like I said, on the walk, in the crate, in the bedroom, looking out the, like, you know, bedroom window or the living room window, thanks for the save, or anything else like that, then you can start correcting. Start low and work your way up, right? Don't start like high blasting. Start low. And yeah, well, I'm serious. Like, it's easy for people to be like, my dog's barking, let me like, whoo, right? And so we're not opposed to dogs having significant consequences, but we want to make sure that this is all done as fair as possible to make sure that you get the results that you want and that your dog is as stable and balanced as you want. So, right, so it takes a few extra days and a little bit of nuance and like control to make sure we do this right. But here's the deal. So you do either one of those exercises, you do them for a handful of days, and then you can go after correcting your dog for barking. It doesn't need to be like, to be honest, like, in Dallas, this is a really interesting story that I'll keep really brief. Was working with Quinn's dog.
Oh yeah.
Quinn had a dog. He runs a small little board and train outside of Dallas, and his dog was barking. He was doing this, barking up a storm in the crate and being crazy, right? And he was like, I haven't put an e-collar on him, right? So put the e-collar on him, got his working level. We were in a tiny little space, like it might have been a walk-in closet or, you know, something close to that. And all I did was find the working level, and then with a short little leash, I started doing recalls, literally 3 to 4 foot recalls. Boom, when the dog would get to me, sit, little leash pressure up, dog's butt would hit the ground, off goes the button, and then I'd walk around him, make sure he stays in that sit, recall him out. It might have taken me 5 minutes, right? And I'm not saying to shortcut it, but what happened in that 5 minutes was the dog got very comfortable with the e-collar pressure and what it meant. It wasn't novel anymore, it wasn't weird, it wasn't peculiar. And then we started correcting for him barking and carrying on and whining, and it was all gone. So there, you know, I don't share that to brag, I just share it to show that, like, dogs don't need like 100 years of conditioning to feel comfortable, but they do need enough time
to get used to like the collar sensation and that they control it. That's like the biggest thing. Like, oh, I actually turn this off. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. There's no suspicions of, like, you know, everything you said, but all that stuff of like, oh, this is like something that I turn off. That's why it's like confidence building stuff too for dogs in general. But like, oh, I do this, I do the right behavior, and it turns off. Oh, cool. Then I can get to know that. Then the barking happens, you correct for that, and it's like, whoa, oh, I know this game. I get this.
I'm doing something wrong. Do you guys all get that? I hope you really get that at a deep level, because what Laura just shared is really kind of the basis of like low-level e-collar training, especially when you're doing escape training stuff. It's really about the dog is in control of the e-collar. You tell him to sit, button goes on, butt hits the ground, button goes away, dog learns, oh cool, when I do this exercise you asked me to do, the button goes away. When you ask me to recall, the button goes away when I commit to do it. So it's really that simple, but you do need to make sure you get that message across to the dog so he's not stressed out.
Yep.
Nice backup.
Thanks. All right.
Thanks, Casey.
Put it up. Bang. Question number 10 comes from Monty's Shane. Monty Shane says, hello, Shane from Guadalajara here. My dog is a bit stubborn when walking in heel. She always seems to be slightly pushing to be in front. She stays by my side but isn't really tuned into me. We do e-collar work and she does well with place, down, stay, but getting in heel position is cut off. But it says basically getting into heel position is kind of her trouble.
Right. Okay, so what I recommended is making sure you go back to the foundation work of heel, which is low-level pressure, guidance with leash and prong, and then the word, and make sure your dog knows very, very clearly that when it feels the sensation at a low level, right, a level that's not so low he doesn't care about, but is enough to motivate him to try and turn it off, right? It's always the same thing. You're walking with the dog, forges out, you've got a level, oh, it's 10, press, hold, slightly guide the dog back with the leash and prong, dog's in position, off goes the button, good, right? You press at 10 and you have to manhandle the dog with the leash and prong, that tells you that 10 is not valuable to your dog. Find the level that's valuable enough, and this will be like butter when you go to pull the dog back with leash and prong. So pattern that, make sure you've done that really clearly, so there's no confusion in your dog's mind about what heel means. This is the position, this word means this, and this is what I do when I feel the e-collar correction for it, right? So then past that, once that's really solid and you're certain you've done a good job with that, then it's correction time, then it's accountability time. And that means like don't be shy with those levels. That means that you're out on a heel, you're out on a walk, and you're out on a heel. You're out on a walk and your dog's like in a heel and he starts to forge ahead, and say you're on a mini educator and you correct at 20 and say heel, and your dog like moves back momentarily and moves right back out in front, that level's not high enough. Find a level your dog cares about. It kind of like the theme of a lot of these questions. Excuse me. Find a level that your dog says, I'd like to walk in front, but this level you shared with me is more valuable than me wanting to walk out in front. And so therefore I will prioritize that and give you the position you want. Right? I hope that's really crystal clear. As long as you undermine your dog with too low of levels, your dog will continue to prioritize what its desire is, which is, I want to go forward, I want to go forward, I want to go forward. Find the right level, and your dog will prioritize that level and come back and come back and come back and hang right here. So that's kind of your work. Make sure the foundation is awesome. Make sure you've been super crystal clear and super fair, and then go to corrections and make sure those corrections are valuable enough. And you might even, like with some of these guys that are like, if they have a little bit of a challenge putting all the pieces together, you pop at a 20, a 25, the dog may like surge forward, lightly guide back with the leash. Even at corrections, you can still give the dog information. Hey, this is where I need you to be. This is where I need you to be. Don't be like, well, you're at corrections and you should know. If the dog's struggling, help him win, help him succeed. So,
cool.
Hope that helps.
Yeah, great.
Cool.